Choosing and starting tomatoes. It can be difficult to choose the types and varieties of tomatoes to plant, especially in light of the fact that there are literally thousands of options. The length of your growing season should be taken into account first. Gardeners in colder climates should choose cool climate tomatoes. These types are more likely to produce a crop because they mature early. It will be necessary to cultivate late maturing or heat-loving types in a greenhouse or tunnel. The additional warmth in this case will lengthen the season. On the other hand, if you have trouble with heat in the summer, you might want to consider some of the more recent types with increased heat tolerance. These heat-set tomatoes, sometimes known as hot-set tomatoes, have a far higher fruit-setting temperature range than conventional types. Many heat-set tomatoes will flourish in cooler climates as well. Throughout the growing season, tomatoes can succumb to a variety of diseases. Choose plants that are tolerant of the local diseases. The disease that worries every tomato producer in temperate zones is tomato blight. Blight, which is brought on by a fungus, can kill plants in as little as a week. Growing tomatoes under cover or choosing one of the new blight-resistant types are the only effective ways to prevent blight. As an alternative, cultivate tomatoes that mature quickly, such as cherry tomatoes, which can produce a crop before the blight threat materializes. Cherry tomatoes are the sweetest tasting and range in size from pea to cherry. While plum or paste tomatoes are good for cooking, standard round-fruited varieties are high-producing. In addition to heart-shaped or ox-heart variety of tomatoes, beefsteak variations produce enormous, frequently irregular-shaped fruits. There are a variety of colors available, such as the traditional blood red, cheerful yellow, antioxidant-rich purple, or patterned black. Tomatoes can either be determinate, meaning that they reach a specific height, or indeterminate, meaning that the main stem continues to grow. Determinate, or bush tomatoes grow into sturdy, bushy plants that are about 3 feet tall, and they ripen a short time. Bush tomatoes will grow well in containers but will need some support, such as a stake. Indeterminates, commonly referred to as cordon or vining tomatoes, develop fruits along a single stem. Fruit production is spaced out over the course of the summer, resulting in a continuous yield that frequently reaches head height. As a result, they need high supports like tomato cages or bamboo canes. Tumbling tomatoes are a space-saving substitute for hanging baskets and tubs, making them ideal for balconies or tiny gardens. Working back from your latest frost date, sow tomatoes 6 to 8 weeks before planting. Individually sow the seeds into damp seed starting mix in pots or trays. Add a thin layer of potting soil over them. To produce a humid microclimate, properly water the pot, then cover the top with a clear plastic bag. Maintain the pot at a warm temperature, ideally around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius, away from direct sunshine. The seeds should be placed in a light area as soon as they have begun to sprout. If seedlings on windowsills begin to slant toward the light, turn them frequently. Grow lights can encourage upright development and provide an early boost. As soon as your seedlings begin to develop their first adult leaves, transplant them into individual pots. Create holes in potting soil-filled containers so that seedlings can be placed inside. The seedlings should be carefully removed from their nursery pot. Gently place the roots of each seedling into its respective hole. A far more robust plant will result from burying the seedlings up to their leaves. Tomato plants prefer a temperature of 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 15–18 Celsius. In order to stimulate stronger plants, nighttime temperatures can fall a little lower than this. To prevent cold shock, tomatoes growing outside will first need to acclimate. Over the course of 2 weeks, acclimate them. Plants should first only be left outside for a few hours per day, then the amount of time should be gradually increased. Windy days should be avoided. If it looks like the temperature may go below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 Celsius, cover your plants. Plant outside only once all frost threat has passed. A lifetime of learning might be spent discovering the many, different tomato varieties.